Welcome to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, with your host, Zaki Baruti. And like always, I want to give a shout out to, first and foremost, my biological family, what's going on, to the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's happening, and to the New Life Evangelistics family headed by Reverend Wright. Keep up the great work. And to the cameraman behind the camera, Bob, what's up? So on that note, tonight, this evening, we're going to have another great show. And in studio with me is that vivacious and beautiful and intelligent and very outspoken young lady in our community named Miss Coffee Wright. Welcome to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. Coffee, how are you?
Wow, I'm great. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful welcome. Thank you.
Well, that's good. That's good. You know, Coffee, there's... First of all, you know, on January the 30th, you made a great announcement. And to the world, you announced that you would be a candidate for the United States Senate from Missouri. Why did you decide to make a statement to that, I mean, to throw your hat in the ring, shall I say, for the candidacy for that powerful position of a United States Senator?
Well, you know, I chose to do it because I can do it. You know, I have the right to do it, and I'm going to do it because, you know, I believe in practicing what I preach and walking my talk. And I think that we need more African Americans to step up, you know, and let the world know, let the United States know that we exist and we have rights and that we're not going to be overlooked.
Okay, when you say step up, I mean step up to what?
Step up to the plate. Step up to opening more doors. I mean, we're all out there protesting, and that number has grown and grown and grown. It was about 5,000 of us at the last largest protest, you know, right here in St. Louis. But the thing is that protesting is great. I appreciate protesters. I'm a protester myself, as you know. But we also have to continue it on to the next level. Protesting create a lot of awareness, and we need to continue that. But also, we have to put ourselves in a position to change these laws and legislations. We have to, without a doubt. I mean, I truly believe in proportionate political representation. And when you look at it, there's 100 senators. And with that being said, of that number, only 3 African Americans. And that's a problem, because if it was proportionate, according to statistics, if we make up 14% of the United States, then out of 511,000 elected positions, we should be holding about 66,000 positions. And the facts show that we're holding less than 20,000, somewhere probably between 16,000, not even the 20,000 elected positions. And that's a problem. So when the big elephants fight, you know, who get crushed? The ants. And we have to stand up. And we have to take these positions and claim them and make some changes, because America's still operating off of the rules from the 1600s, the laws from the 1600s. We have to change things. You know, a lot of this issues that are happening with the police, with injustice, with the prison system, with everything is, you know, they're functioning, they're bending the line, or they're functioning on a very thin line, but they're doing it within the law, because the way the law is written, it's written not in the poor people, not in the African Americans, not in the minorities' favor.
So with that said, now when you made your announcement, are you running in a particular political party candidacy, or how's that?
Absolutely, I'm running under Democrat.
Oh, you're running as a Democratic Party candidate. Now you were making mention that of 100 United States. And so, you know, running for a U.S. Senator, there are those out there saying, you know, what kind of coffee you drinking? Because, you know, in the race, as you know, you have the candidacy of the incumbent named Carla McCaskill, who has from what I understand, a pocket full of money, over $11 million. And I would imagine that, I shouldn't say, you may have $11 million.
No, I don't have $11 million. My campaign probably have $11. And by the way, if anybody want to contribute to that, go right ahead. I'm looking for supporters, donators. If you want to come and help and campaign, I need you. I got you. You got me. Come on. Because, no, I don't have the money that the big boys have, or in this case, the big lady has. But I tell you one thing, I have the willpower, I have the commitment, and I have the energy, and we're going to do this. You know, if no more, they're going to hear our cry, they're going to hear our voice, they're going to hear our demands, and they're going to address them.
So on that level, in terms of the demands, I want to get into some of the issues that you see are key and critical in this particular election. First of all, when is the election?
The election will be August 7th, Tuesday.
August the 7th, Tuesday, August the 7th. I really needed to digress, though, before moving forward. Some people who may just be viewing this for the first time and saying, who's Coffee Wright? What's her background? Tell briefly something about yourself that you would like the public to know. And this is your camera right here.
Well, first of all, I'm Coffee Wright, as you know, and not only am I an activist, a protester, but also I'm a filmmaker. I'm a mother, I'm an aunt, and a whole lot of things. And the thing is that I'm also a woman who don't stand for foolishness and nonsense. You know, I believe in power, the power of togetherness, and that's my strategy. The power of togetherness. But by having togetherness, we have to overcome a lot of this ignorance. And when I say ignorance, is people not knowing, not lacking intelligence so much, but lacking knowledge of other people, lacking the knowledge of what's really needed out here in the real world, in the world where people are not with the elite or the prestige, people that are just regular, everyday people. And that's who I would like to represent, because that's who I am, and that's what I represent. Everyday people who's tired and fed up and just tired of being tired.
Well, you know what? You just made the tired of being tired. That takes me back to a very powerful Democratic historic figure back in the past named Fannie Lou Hamer, who was with the Mississippi Democratic Freedom Party, that was, in her famous quote, was saying, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So it sounds like you're sick and tired of being...
I am sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know, and I believe that we are they, you know, I really do. And I say that because so often we are saying they should do this, they should do that, and we're depending on them, and the them are the power to be, and so they are overlooking us. We're not even, you know, it's as though we don't exist. The important matters and important issues are not being addressed. What's important to the people? We got to give the power to the people, fam. We have to. So when we turn around and say they should do this and they should do that, we are they. So we have to do it. We got to make it happen, or it's not going to happen.
Okay, on that note, I'm sorry to cut you. You were on a great roll. We're going to resume that great roll after we take this quick break.
Okay.
Okay, now we're getting ready to do another 5 minutes, okay? All right, you ready?
Well, you already pointed out to her that, look, if you want to look at the camera, look at that one.
Right.
This one right here, okay.
That's on you all
Right.
the time. This one's got both of you together, and that one's just exactly
Right.
yourself.
Okay, thank you. I was going to ask you which camera was
Yeah, I
mine.
keep forgetting to tell folks that that's the one that's your key one. And like you said, that gets both of us.
Okay, anytime you're ready.
Okay, welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is the vivacious, intelligent, and very outspoken Coffee Wright, who on January the 30th, at a meet and greet gathering sponsored by the Universal African Peoples Organization, announced her candidacy for the United States Senate in the Democratic primary, which will be held Tuesday, August the 7th. Am I correct?
Tuesday, August the 7th. Come out and vote, people. Coffee Wright. That's right, I said it.
I know that's right. Going back to your motivation to run, now you're saying on the other side, there's a lot of key issues that are out there that people need to really rally around. And I want to touch on some of them, and I'm going to have you back for the program because there's so many issues. And you know, the U.S. Senate deals with national issues as well as international issues.
Absolutely.
So I want to we just don't have enough time. And I'm going to invite the other opponent in at some point to get her views also.
Okay.
But let's just deal with a local issue, and which is also national, and that's homelessness. I know most recently during a real cold spell here in the St. Louis area, you practice what you preach, and you were somewhere helping the homeless. Share with our audience how and what motivated you to help the homeless, and where were you helping the homeless at?
Oh, wow. I mean, what motivates me, first of all, to help the homeless is I'm motivated in helping anyone that needs help. And the homeless, as far as the homeless are concerned, I mean, we drive down the street and we see people out here laying on the ground. We ride through the drive-through of a restaurant and they're hungry. We run to our car. It's so cold, you know, that you can barely run from your house to your car, you know, without freezing. And you see your fellow citizen out there laying outside or walking with no coat, no gloves, no hat. I mean, if you're human, if you have any type of humane bone in your body, then you should want to help. And with St. Louis alone, I mean, we came up, they had new laws last year that they implemented that if you feed the homeless, that's a $500 fine. If you give the homeless money, that's a $500 fine or go to jail. I mean, that's ridiculous. But yet we have humane societies that give free shelter to dogs and cats, free medical care, free housing, everything for the animals. And I don't have anything against animals. I have a couple of my own. But at the same time, what about the humans? I mean, these people are people. You know, I know homeless people, some were doctors at one time, attorneys. They come from all walks of life, and they're all nationalities. And the thing is that sometimes some people just had enough, and you know, their life may take a turn for the worse, or they may just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, so yeah, when I see homeless people, you know, I have given them my coat off my back, literally. I have given them the gloves off my hands. And but I'm not the only one. It's a lot of organizations out here that are grassroots. That's who's doing it, the grassroots organizations. Of course, us, UAPO, is out there. You know, we donated hundreds of dollars worth of items and supplies to St. Peter's Church. And we all went over there and we volunteered, you know.
And what was St. Peter's Church doing?
St. Peter's Church was one of the, I believe they were the first church to open their doors to the homeless and allow them in. You know, Reverend Wright had been doing it for, you know, for a while. He couldn't accommodate everybody, but he accommodated about 300 people. But the city of St. Louis closed them down, shut them down, which was ridiculous. They didn't have a plan in place to accommodate the 1,500 plus homeless people right here in Missouri. You know, and then they have one shelter, Biddle Street or whatever, that only holds so many people, about 100 to 200 people. But what about the rest of the people that's sleeping under the bridge? You know, you got Mama Cat, which is one of our frontliners who go out and she feed them. She cook all this food, and we everybody try to just put in and chip in. You got the Ferguson frontliners. You have various organizations, you know, who come forward and just everybody come together. And I'm proud of these grassroots organizations because we're the ones that's stepping up to the plate.
So with that said then, as the next U.S. Senator, what proposal would you put forth to solve that problem? Because that problem is not just here in St. Louis, but it's across the country, you know, in terms of the homeless issue.
It's across the country, and it's a major problem, you know, within the United States, and it's sad. But what we have to put in place is we have to provide adequate shelter for our homeless, and not only adequate shelter, but adequate care, health care, as well as education. You know, a lot of them need to be retrained, and they need Medicare, some type of medical care. You know, and we have to do that. We have all these vacant homes. We have vacant schools. I think that's a good start right there. And so as next senator, you'll be pushing for those kinds of... Absolutely, pushing for that, as well as giving them jobs. Let's train them how to renovate some of these vacant buildings. So that entails, some people would say that's an entitlement program. But and if I may add, this commentary just takes me back, for sake of history for those who's listening, immediately after World War II, where this country was very involved in war against Germany, that it's been under George Marshall, which became known as the Marshall Plan. I think he was Secretary of State, where they reinvested billions of dollars to rebuild Europe and rebuild Germany. So are you talking in terms of billions of dollars that you would be proposing to rebuild the urban areas? We have to, and it probably will take billions. you know, but whatever it takes, we need to put money back into the people. We need to put money into the average, everyday people and not act like we don't exist and we don't live.
So with that said, then in terms of course, you know, you have the question of the United States budget being in debt, trillions of dollars, but just most recently in terms of proposal for the budget, they were, under the Trump administration especially, calling for even greater dollars going to the military. So would you be in support of more money going to the military, or how would you handle that as relates to the urban areas? But before you answer, we'll have to take another quick break.
Okay.
So we'll answer on the other side of the break.
Okay. We're not rolling right now, right? We have
Right.
camera. Okay, I'm not for more money going into the military.
Right, that's it.
At all. You know,
Right.
but,
And reinvesting it back into the domestic, right. Okay. Okay, then, I'm gonna hit that, and then I'm gonna go to the Electoral College,
okay,
okay?
okay.
Okay, 5 minutes,
What about
then
the
3
prisoners?
minutes.
What about the prisoners?
Okay, then 2, okay. Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is the Miss Wright, who's vivacious, intelligent, outspoken, and a candidate for the United States Senate on the Democratic Party, where the primary election would be Tuesday, August the 7th. On the other side, we were discussing one of the issues as it relates to expenditures for military versus domestic spending. So where do you fall on that issue?
I have the utmost respect for our military. I appreciate them. We rely on them for our protection, ultimately. But no more spending with the military. Forget war. We need to take care of peace. We need to take care of peace right here in the United States. We need to put money into the communities. That's what we need to do. No more war. Put money into the communities.
Okay, I heard that then. Now, another key issue, under the Clinton administration, who many people thought that Bill Clinton projected him as the first black president, you had a spike of unprecedented number of incarceration of folks for drug offenses, and you know, and it has continued spiraling to great numbers. In fact, a lot of people say there's a school-to-prison pipeline where they are able to identify third graders who would end up being in prison. That's real deep to me. So where do you fall on, you know, the whole prison industry of today, and
Well,
especially on the federal side?
On the prison industry, with the school-to-prison pipeline and all this, again, Missouri has now brought back the law that has already been in place. It just wasn't really active, that children, school-age children, primary students, third graders, if they get into a fight at school, if it's reported to the police, which it's supposed to be, that's a Class E felony. That is freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous to get a felony on a child. I mean, that's ridiculous. So my thing
So that's an actual law?
That's an actual law.
Okay.
And so with that being said, not only that, but first of all, I'm for the legalization of marijuana.
What?
I am absolutely for it. I don't smoke. I don't believe in puff, pass. If that's what you do what you do. But I am for the legalization of marijuana, number one. For two, I'm also for amnesty for all prisoners that are incarcerated for nonviolent crimes, because there are too many people right now locked up on some BS, some Afro-NACO BS. I know people in prison right now doing 3 to 5 years for speeding. Now, anytime you're going to prison for something that's nonviolent, you could be utilized better on this side of the bars. We could let the punishment be put them in college. Make them go to a school and complete it. But to lock somebody up for, no.
Or do community service.
Do community service.
Cleaning up the
They can do an
neighborhood.
obsessive amount of community service. You can make them do community service for 3 months, spend a whole summer. But to turn around and imprison a person over these nonviolent issues, I'm not for that.
Well, moving on in terms of, there's so many different issues out here. And again, I just want to emphasize you will be invited back into the studio with me. Donald Trump, he probably be saying that the people elected him as if he had a majority vote, which, that did not occur because you have what is called the Electoral College. there is a seemingly little cry among the people that the Electoral College, which is comes historically with this country, which chooses people not by the popular vote, because Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote, I think, by anywhere from 2 to 5 million votes. But Trump is in because he was able to win per the Electoral College, and we don't have time to go through all of the intricacies of the Electoral College.
Right.
But where do you stand with the Electoral College?
I'm saying eliminate the Electoral College votes. I understand it's a part of the Constitution, so that may be a little difficult, but I say give the people what they want. The people vote. The people's vote should count. Got to give the people what they want.
Okay, I heard that. Give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want.
Okay, then. Well, another issue in terms of that I wanted to address, but I'm going to have to stop because we're going to have to take another break. Look like we just go so quick, boy.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back on the other side for a few more minutes.
Sounds great. Thank you.
So, Bob, we got 3 minutes now?
2:45.
Oh, we don't have to close out in 2:45. Okay, 2:45. 2 minutes and 45. Okay, then. So what we're going to say is, how would people be in contact with you?
Okay.
And what was I asking toward the end?
The electoral votes.
Okay, we already did that. And maybe I mentioned, you're a member of the organization, and, we were calling for a boycott. Do you support that?
Okay.
All right. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
We got 2 minutes and 45 seconds, so we got to hit. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. Like always, time is just keep running out. We only got about 2 minutes left. In studio with me is the candidate for United States Senator, Ms. Coffee Wright. And Ms. Coffee Wright, the Tea Party came into existence for the Republican Party. And with coffee, are you trying to create a coffee component?
We're going to have a coffee component. We'll have the coffee party, the coffee branch of the Democratic Party.
Okay, then. I heard that then. But one other, before I get to the other issue, because I'll be remiss, if somebody wanted to help your campaign, like what they're hearing from you, how would they be in contact with you?
You can contact us at area code 314-769-6067. You can also go
Repeat that again, so.
Area code 314-769-6067. And you can also go to our website at coffeewrightUSSenate.com.
Okay, then. So, Ms. Coffee Wright, in that we only got a couple minutes left. You're a member of the Universal African People's
Absolutely.
Organization.
I'm a proud member of the UAPO.
Okay, and we are so honored for you to be a member. And one of the things that we had called for as an extension of police killings, especially the exoneration of Jason Stockley, was a call in our special edition of our newspaper, which I point out every so often on our newspapers, where we're calling for a boycott of different economic engines, including U.S. Bank, Shell, Burger King, Macy's, Dillard's, JetBlue, and NFL. As a candidate running, would you be in support of those calls for boycotts for justice?
I'm in support of any boycott for justice, because if we don't make some noise, if we don't kill the economy with pulling back on our dollars when we're treated injusticely, then we're going to continue to be overlooked and underheard.
Wait a minute. I just must. Are you saying? Well, I can't get into it. We only got 30 seconds. So, within 30 seconds, a couple of phrases that you'd like to give to the people. What's that thing that you said? Put a pot. What?
Coffee pot. Power of togetherness. Got to give the people what they want. Give the people what they want.
So you have been listening to Coffee Wright, who said give the people what they want. So on that note, again, I want to thank everybody who's listening. And may God bless each and every one of you. Get involved.
Get involved. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep your mics on for a minute.
All right. Boy, it be rolling, Coffee. It was just, this is unreal how time is rolling.
Would you be willing to do an extra piece for Reverend Rice's show?
Sure.
About a 5-6 minute segment just that he could put in his help?
Okay, she's good for it.
Okay.
All right. It won't be part of conversation. We'll just say this is.
I mean,
What do you want me to
part
say?
of what you said in that
At
earlier
the
second
pro-
segment about your involvement with the homeless was
Right.
good.
Right.
So anything about like that and about why you think New Life shouldn't have been closed?
Right. I got it. I get it. Yeah, I get
And
it.
you could mention you're running for Senate. Too.
Okay.
Maybe see some of those things change.
Right. You ready? Who's that? Oh, Maya Angelou. Okay. So you got a whole different group of sisters. I heard that.
Well, she's the only female I have. Then I have Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sitting here with Miss Coffee Wright, and we're Miss Coffee Wright, as a candidate for U.S. Senator and just as an activist, one of the situations in our community is the impact of homelessness. And as you know, Reverend Wright had a homeless shelter downtown St. Louis that was actually closed down by city officials. And presently we have the Mayor Lyda Cruson, who I understand was in support of that closure. What's your thoughts on that? First of all, what's your thought about Reverend Wright's work around the homeless issue?
As far as Reverend Rice is concerned, I remember Reverend Rice from me being a child and a teenager, and I've only known good things about him. Family members has went to Reverend Rice for support off and on throughout the years in the past, and I appreciate what he's done, not only for the homeless, but in preventing people to be, in becoming homeless, because just helping, assisting with utilities. So as far as his act on the homeless, I have the utmost respect for what he does. Some people may not don't like the way he do things or feel like he could have done more, but what are they doing? Who's opening up their doors, letting 300 strangers in their home or in their facility and providing shelter and food for them? So I commend Reverend Rice. I have fought side by side with Reverend Rice, and I will continue to fight side by side with him. When he calls, I'm there, and I will be there for him. And I hope I get the same support. I'm sure I will with Reverend Rice. But they just did so many great things downtown. And for our mayor to vow that if she became mayor, she would shut them down, and she kept her word. She shut them down. As you know, I was there the last day they closed. I was there that day, and it was just a sad moment. It was a lot of love because so many of us came to support him, but it was sad because those people are homeless people that were locked out of a place that they could go to bathe, to eat, to sleep. And that just created more of a problem because the city had nothing in place and still don't have anything in place to accommodate our 1,500 homeless people right here in St. Louis, not even counting the entire state of Missouri. I'm talking about right here in St. Louis, over 1,500 homeless people. As a matter of fact, I saw on the news, that they're sending out doing a body count, Okay, are you just not realizing this, Especially, do they do the count? They're making sure that our dogs and cats, stray dogs and cats have somewhere to live. We got some beautiful humane societies. They even got a 5-star looking humane society. Look like a resort. Look like something I seen when I was on vacation, for the cats and dogs. And I'm not against animals. I have pets of my own. But at the same time, when do we worry about humans? When do we worry about our people? Whether it's veterans, your mama, your daddy, that could be anybody. When you look at the homeless, just look in the mirror because that could be you.
I know that's right. So to that end, I know down there, and one of the things I had asked that the reporter who interviewed me to really quote me, and that in regards to the closing. And my statement was that those who were behind it was a satanic mindset, and I still stand on that. When you allow people to roam the streets in the midst of the harsh weather, whether it be cold winter, which we just came through, and I understand that there was some gentleman that climbed into a large trash can to get some
Absolutely.
heat, froze to death, along with a couple other deaths from the cold weather. That's just totally inhumane, especially in a society that is as opulent in terms of richness and what have you, that you would have this kind of reaction to those who are less fortunate. So with that said, what would you say to people in regards to their outlook toward homelessness, or what would you encourage people to do?
I encourage everyone, to, first of all, understand that that could be you. The majority of us are living, just a couple of paychecks away from being homeless. So realize that these are human beings, and this could be you. You could be homeless, for one. For two, if you have extra clothing, extra blanket, in the wintertime, even if, you drive down the street and you see somebody, don't just bypass like you don't see it. You can't ignore the problem. It's only going to escalate. Run home and go get an extra blanket if that's what it takes. Or, I found myself at White Castle 2 in the morning, just came from volunteering at the shelter all day long, myself and one of my film partners, Derek. But we're in the drive-thru, and Derek took off his gloves and gave the gloves to the brother that was begging for something to eat. And so we gave him something to eat, but not only gave him something to eat, we did better, and that's by letting him know, brother, it's a church, which was St. Peter's AME, just blocks away from here, that's opened the doors to homeless. You can walk in there. We letting them know. And I challenge every church, because we got so many on every block almost. I challenge every church right here in St. Louis, and not only in St. Louis, all around this whole United States. Open your doors to the homeless. Let them in. When it's so hot outside, whether it's sweltering hot or if it's freezing cold, open your doors. If you do not have a ministry for homeless, create one. If you call yourself a Christian or whatever religion that you entertain or you claim, then be about what you about, because you cannot call yourself a Christian and you walk past another human being that is freezing out on the street, stepping over them like they don't exist, and then you go to church and praise the Lord. I'm not buying it. I'm not feeling it. And you ain't sold me on that one. So with that being said, no, it could be you.
I appreciate you on that one. One of my experiences, Reverend Wright was having a blanket giveaway, and our organization took some blankets there. And just to see the many people that were out there just tore into my heart, and especially people that look like you and I. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I was ever utilized Facebook Live, because as you just challenged the many ministers, because there's so many churches in our community, that they need to open up the door. And also I just want to give a shout out to D.L. Phillips for, just taking his gloves out and giving it to, one of the homeless people. Because what's this about is that going to the Bible, we are our brothers and sisters keepers.
Have to be. We are our brothers and sisters keepers. And I just have to give a shout out to the community, because the community really have stepped up. We were getting a lot of the churches was getting so many blankets and clothing.
You're talking about St. Peter's.
St. Peter's.
And I think it was two other churches.
It was two other churches.
Destiny Church and a third church, which escapes my...
Exactly, because they start catching on. We had some of our aldermen, Muhammad stepped in.
John Muhammad.
Louis Reed came to the plate.
Right.
And so some of our...
And Louis Reed, president of St. Louis Board of Aldermen.
Absolutely. He showed up. And I appreciate when you stick your neck out to do the right thing and don't worry about who's going to say what, if that's going to cost you your job or it's going to cost you to answer some questions. But like I said, the frontliners were there. Mama Cat was there. And I have to take my hat off to them, because the real, the frontliners, they're not being paid. They're risking their lives. They're risking losing their homes, everything, and they're not being paid. And so when you have people that come together, that it's not about the money, although it would be nice if we can start making sure that the grassroots organizations are compensated, so they can go further. Just see what the grassroots are doing. Look what we're doing, Universal African People. Look what we're doing, and just think, if we had funds, how much more, effective we could be.
Right.
So funds have to be placed in where it's needed.
And on that note, we don't have to bring this component of our talk show to a close. I want to thank you. But if anybody wanted to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you? And you're a candidate for U.S. Senator,
I'm a
right?
candidate for U.S. Senate,
And
Democratic Party.
And how do they get in contact with you?
Please feel free to call 314-769-6067. That's 314-769-6067. And you can go to the website, www.coffee, that's spelled just like the beverage, COFFEE, Wright, WRIGHT, USSenate.com.
Okay, on that note, you've been hearing Ms. Coffee Wright, and what's your closing statement?
I'm Coffee Wright, and that's right, I said.
All right, then.
Power of togetherness, people. Coffee pot. The power of togetherness. We got this. Got to give the people what they want.